Tree Talking Time is brought to you by Conkey's Outdoors. Get all your hound hunting needs at conkeys.com. Welcome to Tree Talking Time, where we talk all things tree dogs, from the smallest fights to the largest hounds, treating squirrels to bears and everything in between. And from time to time, we might even run a little fast game. Need reliable housing for your animals? Animal Housing Solutions in Mayo, Florida builds custom coops, kennels, and shelters that are strong, durable, and designed with your animal's comfort in mind. Whether you need a large-scale kennel or a small custom chicken coop, they've got you covered. Quality craftsmanship, great service, and solutions built to last. That's the Animal Housing Solution promise. Check them out at Animal Housing Solutions on Facebook. Animal Housing Solutions, where your animals come first. Your dogs deserve the very best, and that's exactly what Elite Nutrition Canine Products delivers. Packed with premium ingredients and backed by science, their formulas are designed to boost energy, support joint health, and keep coats shiny and strong. Whether you've got a working dog, a hunting partner, or just a loyal best friend, Elite Nutrition gives them the fuel they need to thrive. Don't settle for ordinary. Choose the nutrition your dog deserves. Find Elite Nutrition Canine Products today and give your dog the Elite Edge. Go to shopeliteglobal.com and use the code TREE10 on your next purchase. Hey, Johnny. How you doing?
All right, how you?
Pretty good. How's your evening?
It's been busy. Work's been wide open.
What do you do?
For work, I do nuisance wildlife control.
Okay.
Yeah, if you got coons in attics, squirrels in attics, groundhogs in your crawl space, snake in your home, all that, stuff like that.
Comes in handy as a coon hunter.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of customers ask me, how'd you get into this? And I'm like, I grew up fur trapping, and it's kind of just second nature to me. So,
yep.
We always had hounds. My daddy and my granddaddy, all my uncles, we all coon hunted and had squirrel dogs, rabbit dogs at one time or another. And wasn't that I know, as far as I've been living, a lot of trappers in my family. My daddy never trapped, but I had my granddaddy and some uncles. They did some coon trapping and mink trapping and water trapping, basically like muskrat and some beaver. Never really did much land trapping, like for fox or coyote and all that stuff. But I do, as far as the nuisance side of it, I do a lot of beaver removal around my area here.
Okay. Very interesting. Not something I've ever really done a whole lot of.
A trap, yeah. On social media, I see like the trappers, they hate the houndsmen, and then because they don't want their hound caught in a trap, and some houndsmen don't understand the ethics of trapping, and there's trappers out there that make the trappers look bad, and there's houndsmen out there that make the houndsmen look bad. You got
for sure
good and bad and all, and all that. But anytime I see like a debate or something, and I'm a trapper and a houndsman, so I on both sides of it,
Yeah.
And I've had somebody ask me one time, how can you be a trapper and a houndsman? I'm like, well, I don't know. I mean, I've never been asked that before. I said, I've done both my whole life, pretty much.
Yeah.
But I remember as a kid going mink trapping a little bit with my older cousins and my uncle years ago, and then I had a buddy that him and his dad trapped in high school, and he got me back into trapping, and I did a lot of trapping with them. And this was I graduated high school in 2001, and I can remember in the late 90s, early 2000s, in high school, I was making real good money in the winter just trapping.
Mm-hmm. Especially for a kid, I'm sure.
Yeah, I remember. I think it was in the threes. I want to say it was like $3,200 something. That was like my best fur check. But now that was for our trapping season. Certain species open year round, but we didn't start trapping until it starts getting dark early, because it's not the so when an animal's pelt turns prime, it's not the a lot of people think it's always when the colder weather comes and the fur starts priming up, but it's actually the daylight savings time, or you know what I mean, like when the time changes. That's what naturally makes an animal's coat prime. So we would never trap until we knew that when we harvested an animal, that when we trapped it, that it was going to be a prime pelt when we skinned it and fleshed it and all that. But yeah, I just got into the nuisance side of it around 2015 and been doing it ever since.
Pretty
So
cool.
I've worked for other companies in the past, and finally, actually, just this past fall, went out on a limb and decided to do my own thing. And now, my only regret is I didn't do it years ago.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I live in a small town, and but I service a lot of the northwestern Tennessee area, and I go about as far as I go from home is 2 hours.
Okay.
But yeah, I stay busy,
Mm-hmm.
So put a lot of miles on a vehicle.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, and doing that, and then still trying to hunt every night I can, and I've got a squirrel dog, and I've only been able to get her out about 3 times since our deer season just closed last weekend, and we have a long gun season.
Yep.
So a lot of my private ground doesn't a lot. So some of my best hunting on private ground, I can't hunt it till after deer season. So
I understand that.
Yeah, so now I've got a lot of places, I can start hunting squirrels and coons, and I ain't really had a chance to get cranking on them much. So I hunt some private ground during deer season that I can hunt, and I hunt a lot of public land, around home.
Yeah, I was just out your way. You got a fair amount of public land, and it's some big country.
Yeah, it's a mixture here. Where we're mainly flat river bottoms, but we do have some hill ground, some rolling hills and ridges and stuff like that. And like where I live, I'm at the foothills here. Behind my house, it's all rolling hills.
Okay.
And just ridges and cow pastures and hills and hollers, where you'll say, and all in front of my house, everything's just flat agricultural river bottoms.
Mm-hmm.
And so I hunt a lot of both of them actually. We got a lot of timber rattlers and copperheads, and in the bottoms in the swamps we have the cottonmouth, and so they've never bothered me my whole life. I've had just a couple dogs bitten, by a cottonmouth or copperhead, more likely a cottonmouth because they was both in the swamps when I was hunting. But I can think of 2 dogs off the top of my head, as long as I've been coon hunting, that actually got snake bit and swelled up and all that. But the copperheads are pretty thick up here in these hills. And the timber rattlers are there as well. So I generally don't start coon hunting the hills until cold weather comes and the snakes, go in or have say. So,
yep.
But
I don't blame you.
I generally hunt year round. If I got a young dog in the summer that needs to be hunted, I'm hunting. And even if I don't have nothing that needs to be hunted hard, if I've just got old dogs, I still, at least in the summer, go once or twice a month, just to hear a tree or see a tree or just get them some exercise or something, So, and, I just don't worry about, and then around here, the humidity's so bad in the summer.
Oh, I'm sure.
You got to hunt a dog, you got to hunt a dog near some water, so they can stay cool. And then where you have water and you have frogs and you have, crawfish and all that, you got your cottonmouth. So but it's crazy. I've hunted these river bottoms my whole life, and I can probably count the number of times on one hand, honestly, the cottonmouth I've seen while I've actually just been out coon hunting. We see a lot of water snakes, non-venomous water snakes and all that hanging up in the limbs and swimming across the water, but hardly ever do I see the actual cottonmouth, even though they're there.
That's one thing I'm not a fan of, so you can keep all of them.
Now, you're from up around Pennsylvania?
Yep.
Is that right? Y'all don't have venomous snakes up there, do you?
We have rattlesnakes up in the mountains, but I don't live up there, so.
I got you. But y'all don't have the cottonmouth or the copperhead?
Not in any sort of numbers. It's very, very rare.
Yeah.
Especially where I'm at. So
Have,
they exist.
have you ever heard of
but
up here around my area? Have you ever heard of Reelfoot Lake?
yes.
Okay, well, see, I live just 15 minutes south of that, and I hunt the lake all the time. And there's a lot of public land on the lake,
Mm-hmm.
good hardwood timbers, a lot of cypress swamp, stuff like that. But now that's I hunt it a lot, and that's where I see if I'm going to see a cottonmouth early season. That's where you're going to see one.
Yeah.
There's a lot of islands out there. I hunt. I run the dogs in a boat, in my John boat, and so there's a lot of places. So a lot of times when season first opens, it's hot, and a lot of times the bottom is dry. The lake might be low, and you can get back in there in places you normally can't. Usually this time of year, our bottoms here start filling up with a lot of splash water, rainwater.
Yep.
But this is the driest year I have seen so far. Reelfoot Lake is low. The bottoms are low right now. But you can get in places with a dog. Generally, you can't right now. And there's like cracked mud in some of the swamps back in there and stuff. It's just so low, dry. Yeah. So, but we got a lot of rain coming in this coming weekend, and so they're giving up to like 4 inches over the weekend. So that's just enough to put water in the woods, I guess you could say.
There you go.
Yep. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
What kind of dogs are you hunting?
Black and tan.
Okay.
Yeah. I've had black and tan since 2009, and I've had them ever since. I started with walkers. My daddy's had every breed you can think of, and his favorite hound was a plod hound, and that's something you don't hardly see around here at all. I guess I don't know. There's quite a few black and tans around here, I'd say.
Okay.
I know just about all the guys. There's not as many black and tans as walker hunters, but I know a few blue tick guys. I know one plot guy, and he lives he lives up at Reelfoot Lake. He's from East Tennessee. He hunts plot. I know one redbone guy down this way, and everything else is mainly walkers and a few black and tans, a few blue ticks.
Yeah, I think walkers dominate most places. So
yeah, no, I think there's a few English guys here too. So yeah, there's a few English guys here. Growing up, I didn't know what an English hound was. We called them red ticks.
Yeah.
And so like I said, I remember he's an English hound. I'm like, huh? What is that? Because when I was growing up, you had blue ticks and red ticks.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and I still call them a red tick here and there, but they say you got your red English and your blue English. So.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, but I've got an English guy here close to me, Murray Reagan.
Yep.
He's got the Hatchie River, and I did a YouTube video with him last December, I think, and we so on my YouTube channel, I started a series called Hunting with Local Legends, around West Tennessee. Cool. Yeah, so I started trying to get with these guys that's been doing it a long time and still doing it, and just trying to film a hunt with them and just go with their dogs. I don't take a dog; I just go and film them and their dogs, and it's been a pretty good hit. I've got a few other old OGs of coon hunting around here that try to get lined up, but it's just how it is. It's just hard to get everybody scheduled together and
yep, for sure,
and get it going. I've got a couple. I have people that'll message me. Hey man, you know this guy or you heard of this guy? He's up so and so part of Tennessee. He'd be a great one to do. And I was trying to keep it in my local area of the local guys here, but I'm willing to do I don't have time to like travel way off and film guys and stuff like that. I was just trying to, because the older guys that I guess you could say built the foundation for this, especially if you got some local that you hear about or since a kid, those are the ones I kind of like to get it out there and just
oh yeah,
it's pretty neat. And there was an old black and tan man here, Glenn Barron. He had a lot of well known black and tans back in the day, and I think he won the first. I don't want to tell you wrong. He had a black dog named 8 Ball, and it was a popular dog. I think this was, I don't know when it was, the 60s or 70s. It was right when, I'm thinking it was either the first PKC championship or something or it might have been the first ACHA, and he won it with 8 Ball, and he was just a local legend around here. You know, he was real big with Jarvis Humphers and all that, and I tried to, and he was still hunting in his 80s, and he just passed away. He passed away. I don't want to tell you wrong again. I want to say it was this past summer.
Okay.
And I stayed in touch with him. He only lived an hour from me. And I stayed in touch with him, trying to do a YouTube with him. And he was all about it. And he watched some of my YouTube and liked my videos and stuff. And so he had a feel of what I wanted to do. And the one weekend that it was going to work out for me to do it, and we had it planned basically. And he called me earlier that day and said he had all of a sudden some out of town family coming from Alabama, and he's not going to be able to do it. And then you know, with weather and anyway, it didn't work out. And then next thing I hear, he passed. I mean, you hear one day and gone the next.
Exactly. No, I understand exactly what you mean. I stopped on my way home from Autumn Oaks to record a podcast with an older guy that was in his 90s. And unfortunately, I don't know. I didn't really pry to ask what happened, but they said his family was like, "Oh, it's not going to work today." And because I was meeting up with his nephew, and then we were going to go over there, and then and we were like, "Oh well, I'm coming back through here in November," so stopped in, and he's like, "We'll see if we can make it work in November." Stopped in November. I mean, and he told me before I even got there, he's like, it's not going to work. He's in the hospital. And sure enough, not long after that, he passed away. And it was a 92-year-old guy that I wanted to sit down and talk to. And, you know, and not only for myself, but the thing I like about getting those older guys on is, you know, it's something for their family as well. I've had, had several people talk to me after the fact and be like, you know, that was my grandfather you had on. I really appreciate it. You know, now I can listen to his voice forever. So,
I did a local legends with Gerald Craddock. Gerald Craddock, he knew Glenn Barron, hunted against him back in the day. Gerald Craddock, I can't think of some nice dogs he had. Walker dogs back in the day. He was a big competition hunter one time, well known around the West Tennessee area. And Gerald just passed away with cancer. I want to say early last year. I keep thinking 25. It's 26 now, so I'm thinking he passed away. I think this past summer, but the December before that, and I knew Mr. Gerald really well. Got the pleasure hunt with him a few times, and this guy's in his 80s at the time, and man, I could hardly keep up with the guy. And I asked him one day how old he was, and he told me, I said, well, Mr. Gerald, I'd give anything to live to be, you know, your age or long, still get to coon hunt, enjoy it. And you know, but the time I didn't get to hunt with him every night. I get to go with him, you know, a handful of times a year. And he was raised around that I know of Reelfoot Lake, and he hunted it religiously. That man knew that lake like the back of his hand. That's where he hunted all the time, and I hunt it. And one night, pleasure hunting, I go to a spot, and there's a Toyota 4-wheel drive there, and I said, "Oh, it's like Mr. Gerald's truck." So I go down to the next place, and there was somebody there, and I didn't know who that truck was. I said, my goodness, you know, it's a lot of people hunting here tonight. I was like, well, I'll go somewhere else. So when I come back out, Gerald was gone. And I didn't know for sure that was him at the time, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I don't know where all they've been in here and stirred them up good, and I'll just go somewhere else. Well, that Toyota truck was coming back, so I pulled over. It's just a little side road that goes through the woods there. Gerald lost his dog, and he stopped and got out. I said, "Hey, Mr. Gerald." He said, "Johnny, is that you?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Well, you ain't seen or heard a Walker dog, have you?" I said, "No, sir. Actually, I ain't really started hunting yet." I said, "There's a truck down that other gate, and I come back and I seen you first." And he's like, "Well," he said, "man, he's I can't hear him." He said, "I don't know much about this Garmin thing." He had an Astro 320, and this might have been before the 200s came out or the 100s. I'm not sure, but this was back in probably this was probably back in 15 or 16. And I had one of those extension antennas that screw into his handheld, and it was showing a question mark. And I said, Mr. Gerald, I got one of these extension things. And my dog boss, I said, let's hook this thing up, see if we can pick him up. He said, all right. And I did that, and I picked that dog up. He was due south in there a mile, and the Garmin said he was treed. We went in that little parking area right there and was facing south, facing the woods, had our our ears cut, and it was a good still night. And we should have been able to hear that dog. And Mr. Gerald, he's right at 1 mile through there, says he's treed. He said, well, I don't hear him. Do you hear him, son? And I was like, no, sir. And I walked away from Gerald in the truck, and I said, Gerald, I don't hear him. He's like, well, I guess I'm going to start walking that direction, and maybe I'll start hearing him or something. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, Mr. Gerald, I'll go with you. He said, you don't mind doing that? I said, no, sir, I don't. So I didn't even ever unload my dog or nothing. I just left my truck beside his truck. Me and him went walking. And we got in there, several hundred yards, and still couldn't hear him, but the dog never moved. And so, long story short, we get in there to him. Gerald forgot and left the bark collar on him when he cut him loose. And the dog had a coon tree and wasn't saying a word. He done had the leaves wore out around the tree, and where he'd been there that long.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget that. And that's the night I figured out how fast that man could walk through them woods at his age. And he carried an old nylon 66, Remington nylon 66.
Mm-hmm.
And but anyway, me and him become pretty good friends after that. And I was really glad this past, not this December, but last December, not this past December, but last December, I got to do a YouTube with him. It's one of my local legend series, hunting with Gerald Craddock at Reelfoot Lake, and his hunting buddy, which is around my age, John Sawyer, a good friend of mine now. He hunted with Gerald all the time, so he wanted John to come with us, and we did separate drops with Gerald's dogs, with John's dogs, and I think we caught 2 coons that night on video.
Nice.
Had a real good hunt. Got to hear some stories with Mr. Gerald, and we sat down in John's shop, and I did an interview with Mr. Gerald on video before we went hunting. I just asked him how he got started and about his past dogs and competition hunting, and we wasn't probably doing 20, 25 minutes of interview, and he's like, well, let's go hunting, boys. He's ready to go.
That is awesome.
Yeah, and anybody that knew Mr. Gerald, that man loved to coon hunt. Like John said, his hunting buddy John, me and him good hunting buddies now and stuff. But John's like, man, he said, "There'd be nights, Johnny, I'd be too tired." And Gerald called me, we going tonight?" And he said, like, he was my get up and go. He was my. And now that Mr. Gerald's passed, he said, man, I don't go near as much as I used to go, but he still hunts pretty regular. But
yeah.
But yeah, so when I went to the visitation when he passed, a lot of his family come up to me and just couldn't thank me enough about doing that interview and that video, and that's something that they can keep and cherish and watch over and over and over. And we was on that video. We're sitting there waiting on the dogs to do something, and he started telling some old tales there, and I got all that on video. And so
awesome.
I've watched it. Yeah, I've watched it several times. It's one of my favorite ones I've done. But like I said, and then that night we hunted, I noticed he slowed down a lot. He got to where, he was like, y'all go on, I'm a-coming, and we're waiting on you, Mr. Gerald. We ain't no rush. And, but John was telling me that he's noticed through the season, he started slowing down. He wasn't walking near as fast, and as hard as he used to. It took him longer to get to the tree, and he'd have to sit down and stuff. And I think he knew he was sick, but he just didn't talk about it or whatever or something. But but like I said, at the end of the video, I was filming John and Gerald standing there at the tailgate with the coons, and we were just talking about the hunt we had and this and that. And I said, all right, we need to do it again. And they was like, yeah, we had a good time, Johnny. We appreciate you doing this. I said, because at the end of all my videos, I always say, all right, this is Johnny with 731 Outdoors. Y'all keep them treed. That's just something like I always say.
Mm-hmm.
and it was funny at the end of the video. I said, "All right, we need to do this again." And they were like, "Yeah." And it was kind of a little pause. And I said, "Anything else?" And John said, 731 outdoors. Y'all keep them treed." And we just laughed. And then the video went off. I was like, "Man, that was awesome. I didn't expect to tell you to say that."
Yeah.
but,
Well, Johnny, before we get too much further, why don't you introduce yourself? And then you've just introduced. You just said I wanted you to make sure you said your channel because you've mentioned it quite a few times, and I've watched a couple of your videos, and definitely wanted you to talk about that.
Okay. Yeah. Well, introduce myself. I'm Johnny Copeland. From Northwest Tennessee. I'm in Obion County, Tennessee, just a little bit south of Reelfoot Lake there, and north of Dyersburg, Tennessee. So right here near what they call near the Boot Hill area here. Mm-hmm. We had the World Hunt here in 2022, the UKC World here in Dyersburg. So that was an awesome experience, and I got to guide the Final Four.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yep. So I'm trying to remember. I remember Kurt Aaron. You can't forget Kurt Aaron. So I remember he was in the cast. He is a card. But we had a great cast. I want to say we scored 5 coons, and had a cast winner. It was that female dog. I can't remember her name right now. But
was that the year that Jenna won?
Yeah, Jenna. Get Gone Jenna. That's right. Yep. Yeah, she's a coon dog for sure. We had Jenna, and there was a hawk dog.
Yep, Wyatt moaning with a hawk.
That's right.
Kurt, and then
I think Kurt had Whitey. Is that right?
I think that is right, and I can't remember the other dog.
Yeah, I can't remember. But the dogs all stayed separate, solo the whole hunt. I mean, we would walk a mile one way to score a tree, and then the opposite way another mile to score that tree, and then we was walking 7/10 to a mile to go score this tree. I've never walked so much and so fast in 2 hours in my life. I mean, I was gutted at the end of that hunt.
So, I was just down in your neck of the woods about a month ago for the Joy Super Hunt, and that is exactly what that cast was like.
Yeah. I feel sorry the night we got it for the World Hunt. The camera guy had like a backpack on, and he had like a shoulder mount thing helping, I guess, brace the camera as he's walking. And man, and the World Hunt was in September, and it's still hot here. Pretty warm that night. I want to say that night it was probably in the upper 70s with humidity. Oof. So I mean, it was rough. But I'm hoping we can get it back to Dyersburg again. It was a great time, a great experience, and I got to guide. I got it actually 3 times. I got it a Thursday night, a Friday night. So the Friday night I got to guide Kurt and Bryce Matthews. I think that's his name.
Yeah.
So what they did was, they had a 2 dog. They had like some type of elimination so the winner out of Kurt and Bryce would go to the Final Four. They already had 3, and so I guided Kurt and Bryce here around home here in the river bottoms here, and we had a good hunt, and Kurt won that cast and got with the Final Four. So
I actually had Tyler on the podcast after he won the World, and then I also had Bryce on to talk about that what all happened there, and because everybody on Facebook's like, oh, Bryce got cheated, and so.
Well, I was, as far as the cast with him against Kurt. I mean, it was Kurt, me, Bryce, and the judge, non-hunting judge, and I mean the dogs made a lot. Where I guided was basically a patch. It was probably 300 acres, farm ground around it, ditches around it. There's always some coons in it. We treat and in these bottoms around here, we have a lot of big, tall timber. We have a lot of tall, white oak, pin oaks. A lot of oak, different species oak trees. We've got just river bottom hardwood timbers basically, and when the leaves is on that time of year, it's it's thick, and it was a tough hunt. But Whitey just, we found a coon that he got treed. And I don't remember if I just can't remember everything on that cast, but
Yeah.
I can't remember if Bryce ever had a coon or not. But I do remember his dog making some big circle trees, some big coon-looking trees. Just couldn't get no eyes to shine.
Yep.
But I do remember, and they stayed split that night.
I'm sure.
Yeah, and and it was crazy that those dogs stayed in that 300 acres, and they did. If I remember right, they got treed. They split treed right off the bat, or right off. Not long after we got started. And I'm thinking when they had the Mark Hall Invitational, and they have those hunts, when they're having that type of hunt down here.
Yep.
I'm wanting to say that they was somewhere around in that same bottom where I got it there. I think a lot of those guys hunt a lot of these places down here, and there's a lot of public land in between all that. So.
Yeah. Conkeys Outdoors is proud to be a sponsor of Tree Talking Time. Family, hunting, tradition is the Conkeys motto. They understand the importance of passing down the tradition of hound hunting. They are a family-owned business that treats you like family. They also understand the importance of having the gear you need when you need it. Conkeys carries everything for your next hunt, and it ships to your door quick. They also offer great warranties on all tracking systems and financing options. Check them out at conkeys.com. You can also use the code TreeTalkingTime5 in all caps to save as well. Now, I liked your country. I mean, when I was hunting down there for the super hunt, and like I said, I don't mind it in the wintertime when there's not a bunch of snakes out there, but
yeah.
You can keep it during the summer.
Yeah, I mean, we've got good hunting here as far as walking. We've got a lot of our state, most of all of our state land is river bottom. It's flat, river bottom land, and it's all real good timber, hardwood timber. Good hunting. Some years we seem like we have more of a coon crop than others. I think we got a pretty good coon population here. I don't remember how many coons was seen, because when we got to the World Hunt, we had our local coon club. We got with a lot of the other coon clubs in all in this area in West Tennessee. We all had to get together and make this event work. So we had a lot of good guides, and we tried our best to put them in some of the best places. And but like I said, I'd say we got a good coon population. I hunt Arkansas a lot, and I don't think we have the coons they have in Arkansas.
Okay.
And those, I would say that's some of the best hunting. Me personally, and I haven't hunted all over, but I mean, all over a lot of states. But I hear a lot of good coon hunting up in Iowa, and Ohio, and those areas. But as far as here in the South, like I say, we got a good coon population. But when I hunt White River and Arkansas, and have always hunted public land. I mean, now I will say this: the last 2 years, the coon population at White River, in my opinion, hasn't been what it used to be.
I've heard that.
But still, I can go down there and see more coons than I can at home. We went this past year. We hunted 3 nights. We harvested 15 single coons in 3 nights. Not super great, not super bad.
Yeah.
But we only seen 24 coons in 3 nights, and there were several trees the dogs made. There was multiple coons. We just shoot one out. There's no limit down there, but I just never have. That's how I was raised. We just never shot multiple coons out of a tree. We always leave seed, leave coons to run another night. But and I even do that, down at White River. But we walked up on dead coons where people would go down there and just shoot them all out and just leave them laying in the woods. Man, I hate seeing that. I just can't do it. But,
yeah, that's a bad look for us. That's for sure.
Yeah, but I've hunted a lot of public land down off in Arkansas bottoms there, and there's good coon population down there. And I've got, I'm only 45 minutes from Arkansas where I live.
Okay.
Northeastern Arkansas area. I'm about 3 hours and 15 minutes from White River. So, I've drove down there and hunted in a weekend and come back home. So,
yeah.
But when I competition hunted, I've competition hunted in several states, and it seemed like I always did 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 good, and up north. I always thought the northern states had good coon populations.
Yep, that's for sure.
Probably, well, when I hunted black and tan days in Florida, it was usually always in Florida, Illinois.
Yeah,
And there was good coon. I had some good scores from up that area. And then when they had black and tan days that year in northwestern Ohio,
yeah,
we drove up there, and I think the first night I hunted because it's where they had it. I can't remember the town, but where they had it at, you're just skipping a jump from Michigan, from northern Indiana. Cause in 3 nights I hunted 3 different states. I hunted, I hunted in Indiana, Michigan, and Ohio in 3 nights up there. But
was
it was
that
all,
was that when it was in
look,
Mount Gilead?
no, it was a
That's
weird name, like
that's
Wooey
more
Son or Wooey. I can't think of that name.
Worcester.
Might have been. It started with a W, if I remember right. It was in northwestern Ohio. It was a 13-hour drive for me, but
Neither one of those
that
are
was
northwest.
okay. Well, I'd have to look at the map and try to figure that and find that town to be able to tell you exact. And I'm wanting to say that was in 2014.
Okay, you're going back a little further.
Oh yeah.
I've been to Black and Tan Days a couple times the last several years, and so that's why.
Yeah.
It was the last time it was in Ohio was Mount Gilead.
Okay. And how long ago was that?
That's
I haven't.
more north central Ohio.
Yeah, I haven't got to go to Black and Tan Days in the last 3 or 4 years, if I think right, because just work's been so busy that time of year for me. But now that I'm working for myself, you can bet I'm gonna make time to get. And I don't competition hunt no more, but I still like to go up there and just see the black and tan guys,
Yep.
to hang out and just fellowship and stuff like that. I usually spectate with some local buddies here that's big black and tan guys, stuff like that. So it's just fun going up there. And generally, when they have the Winter Classic in Batesville, Mississippi, that's not too far from here. It's about a 2.5-hour drive for me, so I'll go down there and hang out.
Good
Maybe
deal.
spectate, yeah. But yeah, I got out of the competition hunting years ago. I used to love it, man. By Wednesday, I already knew where I was going on a Friday and a Saturday. I won Black and Tan Days in 2013 with the Jeep I had, and that was just probably the biggest. I mean, for a Black and Tan man, winning Black and Tan Days is like winning the UKC World Hunt, in my opinion. So if I never won it again, at least because the thing is I know Black and Tan guys that's been hunting Black and Tans before I was born that still competition hunt to this day. Or even if they can't, they're pushing young dogs, putting them in the hands, that can put them in the hunt and this and that. And they've never won Black and Tan Days. And honestly, I didn't start competition hunting until probably 2011.
Okay.
And then, been at it maybe 2 years. And the first hunt that I put my female in was down at Mike Crockett's Coon Club in Mississippi. It was either Coldwater, Mississippi, or Archie Butler, and they had a Black and Tan sectional down there. And at the time, I had a young male that I was pushing in the hunt, and we never competition hunted this female. Her name was Muddy River Lola, was what her name was, and my daddy bought her, and he just pleasure hunted her, and she was probably 2.5 years old. And I had a male dog at the time that had already had a first place win. I was trying to make him night champion. And, I called my dad up. I said, hey, I'm going to Archie Butler tonight hunting this Black and Tan sectional. He said, you want to take old Lola? I said, oh, Daddy, no. I ain't never put her in a hunt. I didn't know how she do. And I said, no, I'm taking old Ryder down there. trying to get another win on him, and he just kept on to take her. I said, "I'll tell you what, I'm going to take her." And I took her down there. Never would have dreamed it, but got a first place with her. First hunt that I ever put her in.
Wow.
I remember I had like four to 450 plus with her. Had the highest score. Yeah, ended up getting crowned queen of hunt with her. And this was in March. Black and Tan Days rolls around, the first weekend of May.
Mm-hmm.
So I take her to Black and Tan Days. And this was, like I said, in 2013. I got double cast wins with her Friday night, Saturday night. Made her night champion up there, and then got crowned queen of hunt at Black and Tan Days.
That's awesome.
And I still have the Heritage dog box that I use every night in my truck that I won off of her.
That's
it's very
cool.
sentimental to me.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, man, I've got a big picture of my home blowed up with me on the winning circle with her. Me and my dad and my buddies that we got her from was there because they're big competition hunters. They still are to this day, and they hunt and breed good black and tans.
Who's that?
But anyway, that's Chad Smith and Corey Jeffries.
Okay.
Chad has a podcast, Legends of the Black and Tan.
Yep.
And that's where my dad got Lola from, was Chad and Corey, and they're where I'm from. They are who I got my first black and tan from, puppy that I picked out of the litter. And and anything they breed is out of real good stuff. Mm-hmm. And so the black and tans I have now is actually came from a lot of. We hunt the same line of dogs. These black and tans we hunt come out of the Schinker breeding, the jet breeding. I don't know if you're familiar with the Bill Schinker breeding, and and Lawton Robinson stuff goes back to Arkansas Typhon and all that stuff.
I am not, but I'm sure there's some listener that is. Oh
yeah. Like the line of dogs I got, they come from Cooper Storm and Ike. He's a black and tan Hall of Fame dog. My cash dog that's his granddaddy.
Okay.
And so the Lola female that I won Black and Tan Days, she was out of Tinker's Smoking Joe, which is a direct son out of Jet. And on her mom's side was she was double Smithhurst bred. If any listeners are black and tan guys, they've heard of the Fred Smithhurst stuff out of Oklahoma. I think is where Mr. Smithhurst is from.
Okay.
So they was bred up really good, and I've got a female out of my Lola female, and she's 11 now. And when I got out of competition hunting, she's never been competition hunting. She's just a pleasure hound. She probably would have made a great competition dog, but after I won Black 10 Days, I drew out against that Ike dog up there, and he looked really good. And Jeff Tomley out of Arkansas, he owned Ike, and me and him become real good friends. We're real good friends to this day. And I ended up breeding Lola to Ike, and it made a real good cross. And I've got two of those dogs still out of that litter today, brother and sister, and they're both 11 years old. And then now I've got a grandpup out of that. So nice. That's what I'm hunting now. Yeah. So, but these old black and tans, man, I really like them.
Yeah.
And when I competition hunted, I loved when I was the only black dog in the cast. I love competing against 2 walkers or 3 walkers, because you got to admit, it doesn't matter if you're an off-color dog, whether you're a red bone, a black tan, a blue tick, or English, whatever. If you beat them walker dogs, they're talking about you at the cast. They're talking about you at the club. Man, that old black dog look good.
Mm-hmm.
I always like being the underdog, man. So.
Yep.
And there's nothing like walking back to the truck with a cast win. I mean, you'll have the biggest smile on your face. It feels good to win. And, sometimes I try to talk myself to get back in it. But, man, I just, what I enjoy is just going on my own time when I can go and load a hound up and just, there's no pressure. I mean, I'm just, just pleasure hunting. That's what I enjoy.
Yep.
But, like I said, there's nothing wrong with competition.
No, not at all. So, well, I do want to kind of switch gears a little bit. Kind of one of the reasons we got hooked up and started talking was about an event you helped kind of put together, right?
Yes, sir. Uh-huh.
So why don't you tell us about that?
Well, I've always wanted to get the youth involved in the coon hunting, and around here, that's something I guess it could be a lot of places. They say coon hunting is a dying sport. It's just something you don't hear of a whole lot anymore. And I've got a son. He's 16, and he likes to coon hunt. He's been going with me since he was big enough to walk, basically. And he might have a buddy that'll go with us here and there and stuff. But anyway, I'm always thinking, like, man, I'd like to be able to do something to get the youth involved in coon hunt, because we can't, if we don't share the knowledge, or get it out there, what coon hunting is to the youth, especially, that's the next generation to keep the sport of coon hunting alive. So, if it dies with us, like, it dies with us. So I really, really got to thinking, like, surely, I've got some buddies I can talk to, and maybe we can get the word out there and try to have like a youth hunt. Mm-hmm. And around here with our the RDNR, or however you'll say it, is the TWRA, the Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency.
Yeah.
And I've got a buddy that's a game warden, but he's also a coon hunter. And I called him up one day. His name is Josh Emerson. I said, Josh, I'm thinking about, getting a coon hunt together, and I'd like to get y'all involved because they have a big outreach. They have a big social media platform. They have I think they have some type of podcast. I think they even have like a TV show or something called Tennessee's Wild Side or something like that. Mm-hmm. And you'll see where they're always doing youth events. Like, they have youth dove hunts. They definitely have the youth deer hunts, the youth turkey hunts, the youth duck hunts, and I have these big get-togethers with all this youth, and this and that. And I'm thinking, like, man, it'd be nice if we could do something coon hunting like this, and have an event, get some kids together. He's like, you know what, Johnny, I think that's a great idea. So he talked to the main executive chief guy, or however you say it, up in Nashville, and they said, yeah, let's do it. So I spread the word with a lot of local buddies here that run hounds, and they're all like, yeah, man, we'll help, whatever. So I guess it just went from there, and we got it approved. And like I said, and got the TWA got involved with it. We got the NWTF, the National Wild Turkey Federation. Our local chapter got involved and helped us with it. So, and we got a local. There's a little community here called Pagoda, Tennessee. There's a country store there called the No Limits Cafe, and a good friend of mine, a farmer. His name's Wally Childress. He owns the place, so he let us have it there. And because they do a lot of stuff for the youth with duck hunting and all that, and Wally's real big about the youth and helping kids. And at the time, he was the state commissioner. So I guess you could say I had a lot of help and a lot of pull to get this going. And so we started having some little. Yeah, so we started having some little meetings before it, and talking, trying to plan it out, try to get a date going and this and that. And around here with the deer seasons in and all that, we're trying to pick the best day to have it a night before, like, a rifle season opens or something, because, if we have a large turnout, we got to have, places to take these kids. And some of the public land has like certain restrictions, regulations where you can't coon hunt the night before an opening day of a gun hunt or something like that. So we had to work around a lot of this stuff. And we had it on the first year we did it. We had it, I think, on November the 14th on a Friday night. And we wanted to do it on a Saturday night. And, we kind of didn't want to keep the kids out super late with church the next day and this and that. But we set a date. The TWRA helped advertise it. People was registering their kids online. We had a lot of help sharing it on social media, on Facebook, and it got shared a lot. And honestly, with it being coon hunting in a small area like this, I didn't think we was going to have a good turnout. But I told people, I said, if we could have 5 kids show up, that's 5 kids that we're introducing to coon hunting, so better than nothing. And man, so our first year, so we had 47 kids show up.
Wow.
I was, yeah, I was just stoked, I guess you could say. And that little country store, which is pretty roomy, but at the same time, it was pretty packed. I mean, so the NWTF, they auctioned, not auctioned, I didn't mean to say that, but the NWTF, they gave away a gun. So we had door prizes. I reached out to a lot of the guys in the hound world that helped. Valley Creek Hunt Supply
Mm-hmm.
donated stuff. Let's see, Bob at Timber Creek Dog Supply, Tippy River Dog Supply. Um, a lot of the hound groups, donated coon lights to give to the kids, door prizes of just, and it didn't really have to be just coon hunting related door prizes. Anything outdoors, like, thick hunting gloves, or we had people donate fishing gear, just something to give the kids while they was there. Every kid got a coon squaller. Uh, so all the kids was running around with the coon squallers. I mean, we had ages 6 to 16. We had food there for everybody. So it turned out really good. What's that?
You made a lot of parents really happy.
Yeah, yeah. So and again, we had a lot of local guys. We had a lot of guys coming from the coon clubs around to bring hounds to put these kids in the woods. TWRA was there and did a safety briefing before we hunted. Went over the regulations a little bit, safety with the firearms, that only the guides or the dog handlers handled the rifle. Unless they want to let a kid shoot a coon, that's fine. But I want to say, we took the kids out for maybe 2 hours. We made like a deadline to be back. And again, we had 47 kids show up the first year. We had door prizes, food. It was a real good time. I think there was 19 coons brought back that was harvested that night. A lot of smiles on a lot of kids' faces. And since that first year we did it, I've had a couple dads that stay in touch with me where their kids just fell in love with coon hunting, and now they've got a dog and hunt all the time. So that's the goal that we're after right there. We're just taking kids out on an old fashioned coon hunt and just introducing them to hounds and being in the woods at night and just seeing the dogs work, and that's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
So since we had such a great turnout the first year, we definitely wanted to do it a second year. So we did it again just this past November. We had it on a Friday night again, I think around November the 14th or 15th, because that's the night it worked out the best for everybody. And we had 75 kids show up. And I'm telling you, it was so. We're thinking next year we need to find a bigger place to have it if it goes. So next year, Lord willing, we're gonna have it again, and I'm pushing for 100 kids. But it worked out this year as well, or last year, past November. We had same thing. We had door prizes, food, and this. I'm trying to think. I want to say we had 24 or 27 coons brought back harvested. And we had a lot of people involved in it. We had a taxidermist this year. So the kids are kind of split up in age groups, and we don't want 5-year-olds with 16-year-olds. We kind of try to get the kids kind of in the same age group, and we split up the kids with groups of hunters to take them out, and we did like we did this the first year too. We did, so all the kids that brought back, we did a biggest coon and the smallest coon prize. So whatever kids was in a group with the biggest coon, or we drawed them down to 2 winners. So you had a winner for the large raccoon and a winner for the smallest coon. And we had a taxidermist this year said, I'm going to do a mount for the kids that for the kid that wins the biggest coon and the smallest coon. And so we did that, and it wasn't too long ago. He got them all mounted, and we met down there and got pictures with the dads and the kids, and put it back on, put the pictures on social media. And
that's awesome.
They're just, the kids are just super happy. So he's wanting to do it again. The next time we have it. So, but it's amazing in a little community like this, what people step up and do for the youth, and get together and make it work. Whether it's coon hunting or duck hunting, whatever. But I mean, it was like I said, it was. I just never dreamed that we'd had 75. And as people kept getting there, coming and pulling up, and more kids are coming, I'm like, wow, how many we up to now? 75 was it. And so and again this year, every kid got a squaller. And but like on my YouTube channel, 731 Outdoors, I've got a YouTube video of the first year we did it, and I've got one of this past when we did. And what I do is I'll video the event, just here and there, and then the kids that go hunt with me, I video our hunt. And so you can see that, check that out on my channel, and you can see a lot of the smiling faces and the good times we had and stuff. And, like I said, it was awesome, man. I've got a lot of good feedback from it. I couldn't tell you how many parents reach out to me and just thanking me, and just was glad that we did this, and I don't take all the credit for sure. Definitely don't do that. I mean, I had a lot of help to make this work, and like me and you talked earlier, I wish a lot of states or a lot of different would do more. You would see more of this, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I think it's great that the TWRA stepped up and they played a part in it. You don't see that,
Yeah.
and I just think that's what really set the event apart from most other youth events. Like, I'm not knocking a youth event that doesn't have like a state agency there, but I think it adds a little bit of legitimacy. You can talk to the kids, that they can kind of go over the laws and everything, and I'm not saying, like I said, you guys couldn't do that, but it's just a different effect from the actual wildlife officers.
Yeah, and when I come up with the idea to do it, and having a wildlife officer as a friend that also is a coon hunter, so that was, that I was already a step ahead, because he understands the importance of getting the youth involved in coon hunting and keeping that tradition going, and so if if something came up and we never could have no more, there's you add 75 and 47 kids, so that many kids at least know something about coon hunting.
Exactly.
And like I said, I know five to eight dads that stay in touch with me that their kids have fell in love with coon hunting. Now they're trying to. Some of them have, and some of them are trying to find a dog.
Awesome.
Because one dad, he's like, man, I really don't know if I want to get a puppy or do I need to get a started young dog. And I said, man, if it was me and y'all are just getting into coon hunting, I said I would probably find a puppy and just raise that puppy and grow with that puppy, and and I said it'd be more rewarding at the end if once you walk to that first treed raccoon with that dog. He's like, you know what, you're 100% right. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna buy us a puppy. So it's just awesome,
Yep,
and
for sure.
And like I said, I can't wait to do it again. And it's just something you don't see around here anyway.
No, not at all.
I mean, I don't know. Do y'all have anything like that in your state and there where you're at? Or
not that like I've never seen anything like that from our game commission. So, I mean, I've seen coon hunters do youth events and stuff, but never anything like that.
Well, as far as getting it going, and then and again, not only the help I had, the local guys helped me do it, and the houndsmen and this and that, in our state commission and all that, but just like what's also is like like Ray Conrad with Bright Eyes. I reached out to him. He sent 4 or 5 Bright Eyes lights.
Oh wow!
To give to the kids and stuff. So I mean, just people like that's real big, in helping the youth. That makes a big difference too. And
absolutely.
It just goes to show you how many people out there is willing to, that cares about coon hunting, and they understand the importance of keeping it going for future generations.
Yep.
And like I said, I hope we can keep continuing to do it, and it gets bigger and bigger every year.
For sure.
So, like I said, I don't take all the credit. I had a lot of help, and like I said, it's worked out. So, and again, I go back to like you said, it'd be nice to see more of it, being done in other states. And I do think that in East Tennessee, the TWRA has one in East Tennessee. I want to say I think.
Okay.
And there's one. There's one here in Western Tennessee called the Hatchie.
Hatchie River Youth Expo.
Yes, and that now they do a lot of stuff. They do coon hunting. I think they even do trapping. They do. They have all kinds of outdoor stuff that they show the kids and stuff. So, and I think they usually have theirs like the weekend before we have ours. And I've always wanted to go. I think they've been doing it. I think they did the first year we did ours. I think they're right at their second year, and so maybe next year it'll work out where I could go to theirs and help out if they need help. So,
actually, by luck, me and my son were able to go to the first one. Like I said,
cool.
We don't live anywhere close to it. It was a 14-hour ride, but we were kind of coming through there, so we stopped in there, and now the only thing that is a little bit different is like there is no coon hunt. Like they give hunts they give hunts away to kids to be able to go on things. But
I guess.
Unlike what you guys did where you took a whole bunch of kids all on a coon hunt.
Yeah. And you'll see on my video on my channel, we got all so the first year I told the parents and the kids when we went hunting, I said, hey, so when everybody comes back, I said, I want to get a picture out here of all the kids and we'll put the coons, and if you got a dog, you're going to put the picture in this and that. So, I mean, I guess people forgot or something. So I didn't have, most of the kids in the first year. And then this year, the same thing. We had just so much going on. It was just so, it was just so much action packed. Even when everybody got back from hunting, it's just, trying to get all the kids together. And, I think some might have already left. They forgot or whatever. But anyway, still got a real good picture of all the kids and with the coons brought back. And if you look at that video or that picture, you just check out all those happy little smiling faces. And what's pretty cool is the first year, after we was taking the pictures and the videos and all that, all the kids were still standing there, all the parents and the guys with the TWRA was with us, and everybody was still there pretty much. And I said, all right, kids, and everybody was listening. I said, now remember this: when you get your first coon dog, make sure it's a black and tan. And a bunch of them kids all at the same time said, okay. And then you could hear some parents laughing, some guys laughing. But it was pretty neat. And but yeah, it was. Man, I would do it every weekend if I could.
Yep.
I mean, it's just awesome.
It is. It really is. And you made a video for both years of that, right?
Yes, sir. Yep.
So that's on your YouTube channel, 731 Outdoors.
Yes, it is. Yep.
Awesome. I know I watched one of them. I don't remember which one. After we got to talking about it, and so I made sure I went and watched one of them. I can't remember which one it was off the top of my head, but really enjoyed it, and definitely think anybody listening should head over to your YouTube channel and check those videos out and check your other ones out. So,
yeah, I mean, I've got, like I said, I'll like when I just go pleasure hunting, I always say, well, am I going to video tonight for YouTube? So, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, and but I mean, most times I do. I've got a lot of footage from some hunts this year that I need to work on some more videos, and I try to keep the content out there, but when you're working so much and all that, sometimes it's just hard to sit down and get all that together and get it edited.
I'm well aware.
Yeah, but I've got a lot of I've got some fishing on there. I've got some mixed outdoor stuff on there, but probably 95% of all my videos is coon hunting, and I've got a few of my squirrel dogs. I had a lot of guys reach out to me and say, hey man, let's do some. Could you do some squirrel hunting? We'll go like, yeah, I'm working on some. So, but coon hunting is my main thing. I just like going out filming the dogs, and and a lot of times I'll just go hunting with people, and I don't even take a dog. I just film their dogs and film them or something. It's all fun.
For sure.
And there's a lot of good. There's a lot of great content guys out there that do coon hunting for sure. And I'm my hat's off to anybody and them that and y'all that that put this content out there. That it keeps all of it. At the end of the day, it keeps coon hunting alive.
Yep.
And
no, we need good content out there for people to be able to stumble across, because somebody might find one of your videos that wouldn't find one of mine, or they might find somebody else's, and so
right.
And you never know, they might
right.
find mine and then watch a few of mine, and all of a sudden one of yours pops up.
Yeah, because I watch a lot of different coon hunting content on YouTube, and my wife, I'll be in the living room watching YouTube, watching coon hunt, dogs barking and all that, and then there'll be nights when I'm not watching YouTube, or if I'm not hunting, the hounds are raising Cain, and she would laugh because I run to the back door, and I'm like, hush it up, get in there, hush it up. She's like, I've never understood. She said, I never understood. You'll sit here and watch dogs barking, but you can't stand it if yours is out there barking. I was like, I don't know. I mean, I think we're all like that.
It's different.
Yeah. And, and one reason why I started doing the YouTube thing is, I love watching coon hunting on YouTube, and just, you really don't see a lot of black and tans on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
You really don't. And so that gave me an idea to kind of, push the black and tan breed and just get the black and tans out there, and so, and I've gotten a lot of good feedback no more, and I've been doing the YouTube stuff, so
good.
I enjoy it, and probably one of my, I've got several favorite guys out there. Have you heard of Chad McCoy with the Poncho dog?
Yep.
Well, my little female that I'm hunting, Lola Joe, she's out of Poncho, and my female. And Clayton Stark did a video with Chad and Poncho.
Yep.
And during the winter time, and that's one of my favorite ones, I think, because he's really helping promote the black and tans on that one, and me and Chad's good friends, and he said, when Clayton came and filmed that hunt, he said, man, the phone was ringing about Poncho. So that goes to show you, people watch that stuff, and they get to see these dogs work. They get to see them in action, they get to see them tree and how they handle and just all that. So I mean, I think it really goes a long way
for sure.
A lot of that. And like I said, I'm just a pleasure hunter. I just like putting content out there. I like getting them black and tans on the screen, and that's why I like filming my personal hunts and stuff like that. I just enjoy it, and I've actually had people watch my videos and look me up or basically comment on the video and ask, do I have a Facebook or something like that, and I give a guy my number on a YouTube comment. He called me. And he really liked some of my dogs and wanted to know who they was out of. And next thing I know, he says him and his son got a black and tan from watching my video. So I mean, that's pretty cool to get that type of feedback.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of good stuff with social media, and especially the coon hunting, with YouTube and all that.
Mm-hmm. For sure. No, I agree, and I enjoy putting it out there as well, and I think we need more of it. So,
oh yeah, for sure. You heard of the YouTube channel Kentucky Cooner?
Yeah.
Yeah, I talked to him. He was I think he was working for Dog Show or something. He had a booth set up, and I was talking to him. And he was just saying he was so busy and stuff, he ain't had time to get, because I used to really like watching hit the content he was putting out, and life gets busy on a lot of us, and it's hard to get it out there like we once did and stuff. But I actually messaged him the other day, and I said, "Well, when we got some new Kentucky Cooner coming out," he said, "I'm working on some." I said, "Awesome, can't wait." So, but yeah, it's I'm well probably when I'm not hunting, like a night when it's too windy or bad weather, whatever. My wife will tell you if nobody's really watching TV or nothing, I get the remote out and I'm on YouTube watching coon hunt.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you got anything else to add to this one?
I don't guess, unless you got any further questions. Or
no, I've really enjoyed this.
Yeah, I've had a great time. I've really enjoyed it. I appreciate you, getting me on here and getting to talk about the youth event, and that's just helping get the word out.
For sure. Hopefully
it basically don't have this. Yeah. I mean, we call it because where we have the event at is in Dyer County, Tennessee, and we call it the TWRA, which is, like I said, Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency. We call it the TWRA Dyer County Youth Coon Hunt. That's what we call it. So that's what it's titled on Facebook and stuff like that. So for sure, this next coming fall, probably around August, September for sure, we'll know a date by then, and we'll start putting it out there on social media, and TWRA will be putting it on their website and their social media page, and we'll start sharing it and get the word out for hopefully, again, like I said, we'll have our third annual event.
Yeah.
Maybe you and the family can make it down.
Maybe. We'll see. But I really appreciate you coming on. Like I said, hopefully we can get your event to grow.
Yeah.
So
that's what it's about.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Tree Talking Media. And until next time, keep them talking in the timber.